Welcome back everyone, Anna Bradley DIY. Let's get crafting. We're going to start with these ceramic blocks that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. They do have inspirational words on one side, so I'm just going to cover them up with some scrapbook paper. I picked up the scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to cut it to the size of the block. I'm going to grab some Elmer spray glue and adhere that to the block. And then we're left with a blank on one side and then your scrapbook paper on the other. Now I want to add some ribbon to the side. The first one I got from Dollar Tree and the second one I got from Joann Fabrics. I'm just going to cut the ribbon to the size of the block and then I'm going to glue it to the bottom so that we have a little trim around the sides. Be careful, you really should use something on your fingers. My fingers don't have any feeling anymore, but you should probably wear a little thumb protector, finger protector, and do the same to this block. I glued on the top first and it kind of helped it hold it in place for the bottom. I didn't do that on the other one, but this one you kind of learn as you go along. And there you go. And what I'm going to use is these amazing window clings, and they actually, this one sticks right to it. I didn't even have to use any glue or anything because it's a cling and it's ceramic, so it sticks. I'm just going to stick that on there like that. And for the next block pumpkin, I went ahead and cut out this welcome to my patch from my Cricut. I used matte removable vinyl, also from Cricut. I'm just going to adhere that to the front of the block of pumpkin. The most satisfying part for me is pulling it off. I don't know if I'm the only one. Let me know down in the comments below if you feel satisfied after pulling off that transfer tape. And there we go. We got our two pumpkins. I grabbed these stems from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to add them to the top using hot glue. You can use whatever glue you feel. And there we go. I'm going to make little bows for the top. I'm going to tie the first one in just a shoelace form, just simple bow like that. And then the second one, I'm just going to tie it on there. I'm not going to make a bow. It's just kind of a different kind of a bow. And there we go. So cute. I love it. I love this ribbon. I love pumpkins. I love fall. I'm going to take my black Posca paint pen. It just needed a border, so I'm just going to do a little stitching around the first one. Just simple stitching, just to give it a little something more. And I'm going to put some dots in the corner of this one, and that's it. Got your little glass pumpkins. Now we're going to grab these block pumpkins. I picked these up from Dollar Tree. They're just super cute. I really like them. I grabbed some Plaster color chalk paint by Waverly. It's a warm white. It's a really great color for fall. And I'm going to paint the whole pumpkin that color. And then I'm going to grab some Truffle. It's also Waverly chalk paint. It's a deep brown. It's a really good color to go with Plaster. And I'm going to grab some scrapbook paper. I can't remember if it's Joann Fabric scrapbook paper or Hobby Lobby, but you can use any one that you like. And what you want to do is you want to push it over the edges that you want it to go, so you have like a indent in the paper, and it gives you a line that's perfect for your application. And I used the Elmer spray glue again to adhere it to the pumpkin. Just simple as that. Just want to cut it out. See the indent? It's hard to see on film, but you can kind of see that indent where I'm cutting out. It just is a lot easier for me to do it that way. And then once we have it adhered, I'm going to grab this green. It's like a jute cording or rope, whatever you want to call it. I got that from Joann Fabrics. And I just want to outline the small pumpkin on the inside first, just to give it some more dimension. And you might want to use your finger protectors for this too, because the edging is kind of small and you have to push it on to get it in the groove. And then I'm going to take the cording and go around the pumpkin on the outside. just right on the edge. You want to just lay that cording down on the glue and trim it out. Goes all the way around the pumpkin. So cute. And you want to just go around the whole pumpkin. And then once you have the cording glued down to the pumpkin, I want to layer them and I want to give them a better like stand. So I'm going to grab a tumbling tower block and I'm going to put it on the back and it's going to hold it up so it'll be just more sturdy. And then I did that first before I edged the other pumpkin because you can see that part of the pumpkin goes over the other pumpkin and you don't want to put cording where the other pumpkin's going to be. So I went ahead and glued it so I knew where to start my green cording trim on the other pumpkin. And I'm only going to do the outside of this pumpkin, so you don't need to do the inside. Unless you want to, you can always do the inside. And then cut it at the end when you're done. And there you go. We're done with that part. And then this is how it looks like now. I'm going to go ahead and grab the bows that I had took off originally. They were the burlap bows that came with the pumpkins and glue those down. Then I'm going to grab the same window cleans that we used earlier and I'm going to trim it down so it fits the front of the pumpkin better. I'm going to grab matte Mod Podge to adhere the cling to the front of the pumpkin. I'm not a big Mod Podge fan. I'm not very good at it. It always seems to wrinkle up or bubble up, but since the cling is kind of like that filmy, it's not really paper, it's a lot easier to use. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some on the bottom and then on the top to kind of seal it in. Next, I'm going to grab my Posca paint marker. It's in a brown, and just do a little stitching on the bottom just to give it a border, a trim, just a little something. And then you're all done. For this project, I'm going to use these pumpkin stickers I got from the Dollar Tree, black ribbon, fall words, and a little truck, and the unfinished wood pumpkin. First, I'm going to paint the truck in a black chalk paint. I'm going to paint everything except for the little railing in the back. I'm going to use my brown Posca paint pen and just color that in. Just a little easier for me, and sometimes paint gets stuck in the little groove, so little areas the paint marker is perfect for. Then you want to just grab the little fall words. There's I think it's a 5 or 6 pack. Looks like 6 pack. You get fall words. I'm going to use the Farm Fresh and also use my paint marker to paint that up. Then I'm going to grab the scrapbook paper. I got it from Hobby Lobby. It's a white shiplap. And I'm going to use the Elmer spray glue to adhere it to the pumpkin. I like to use sandpaper to trim around the edges. It just gives a cleaner edge, a little bit easier than using scissors. Also black chalk paint for the stem. And then I'm going to grab these little, I think they're 10 millimeter half wood round beads, split beads, I think what they're called. I'm going to go ahead and glue those around. And then to attach the truck and to make sure it's all in the right place, I'm going to adhere the stickers to the backing first. And then I'm going to adjust my truck to fit to where the stickers are showing better. And then I'm just going to glue it down. I'm using hot glue, but you can use any glue that, you have around. And when you glue the wood words down, they have like a smaller surface for glue. So if you have a different glue than hot glue, I would recommend that because it does kind of peek through. And to make the backing the sign that the pumpkin sits on, I'm grabbing the 1 gallon paint stir sticks and I'm going to make all of the grooves go on one side because the pumpkin is going to cover that up. And before I glue the pumpkin, I want to make sure that it's going to fit. So I do glue the bottom first before I glue the top and before I glue the pumpkin. And then you can see that it'll be able to fit on your little sign. After that, I just wanted to grab some antique wax and some water and do a light faux stain on the 1 gallon paint stir sticks. And then when that is done, you're able to glue your pumpkin to your 1-gallon stir sticks. And then I wanted just to add a little bow, so I grabbed my black satin ribbon that I had picked up from the Dollar Tree and just made a simple shoelace bow and affixed that to the top of the pumpkin. And unfortunately it didn't show here, I must have lost the recording, but I did paint the top and the bottom of the pumpkin sign with a black chalk paint. And that was it for the sign. And to start, I found these like wood plaques at the Dollar Tree, and we're gonna make risers. For the feet, I'm using these apples I also found from the Dollar Tree. I started by painting both plaques using white chalk paint, and then I grabbed the apples to start doing the feet. And to do that, we want to remove the little stem. Some of them pop right out with a little wiggle, but some of them are really in there. So I grabbed some of these like wire cutters and tried to trim it off as best as I could. And there you go. I grabbed some hot glue, and we're gonna glue the two apples together to make the legs. And I decided to leave them just the natural wood color, but you're welcome to paint any color you want, of course. And then we're gonna grab those same window clings that we've been using. I decided to use Fall Breeze, Autumn Leaves, and Pumpkin Spice, Please. And then this one I decided to go ahead and use a different one, but you'll see that later on. And then we're grabbing some more of that Mod Podge. I used the matte. I also got that from the Dollar Tree. And I'm gonna apply it to the back of the cling and then place it down on the plaque. I'm also gonna apply some Mod Podge to the top just to seal it in, so that if you set something on it and it spills or whatever, you'll be fine. And you can see there on the left side that I had changed out the window cling. And that's really it to these, that's all. When they're dry, you just want to glue the legs to the bottom. And I also use hot glue with that. You could use wood glue, it would probably last longer, but for video purposes, I've got the hot glue. On the second riser, I decided to use just one apple instead of two for the legs, so it gives it a different level. So when you display them, they're at different heights. It gives your decor levels and interest. And that's it for these. And last but not least, we're going to make a fall wreath. I'm using these leaf florals that I found from Dollar Tree and the lamb's ear I had from Walmart. I'm going to use these zip ties to affix the florals to the wreath. I'm just laying them out right now just to see where I want to put them. I'm layering it a leaf, lamb's ear, leaf, lamb's ear. And later on, I'm going to add some little eucalyptus picks that I had picked up from Walmart also. And on here, I am showing that I'm putting just the zip ties at the end, and later realized that you need them at the top too, or it will flop around. So I did go ahead and add more zip ties to make it sturdier. And those are the eucalyptus that I'm just gonna poke in just randomly to add a different color of green, just to spruce it up a bit. And then we're going to make the sign that's on the inside. I'm going to use this pumpkin sign that I had gotten from the Dollar Tree. I'm painting it in white chalk paint first. And then after that, I'm going to add mineral just to give it the ridges, just blending it in. The white paint is still a little wet, which helps it blend. And there you go, a little pumpkin shape. And then after that, I'm going to grab the Truffle chalk paint and paint the stem so it's a nice brown. And then I grabbed the thankful and blessed sign from the Dollar Tree and cut away the thankful part from the blessed. So we're left with the blessed and the little leaf on the bottom. I decided to use the Turkish tile. It's a blue chalk paint. It's from Home Decor, Folk Art. I just like that color to go with the leaves a little better. And then I'm going ahead and pulling the leaf around to the front. So our pumpkin has a leaf. And now we're going to add hot glue to the back of the bless sign and add it to the front of the pumpkin. And then we're going to need a way to add the sign to the wreath. So I grabbed some Chanel stems or pipe cleaners, whatever you call them, and I'm going to add those to the back of the pumpkin so that we can add the sign to the wreath. It'll just be easier that way. So I'm grabbing a craft stick and I'm going to hot glue that on top of the Chanel stem so that it will stick to the pumpkin. And then we're going to add it to the wreath. And to do that, all I did was twist tie it to the back, just a little bit tight so that it doesn't flop around. I used one of the crossbars as like a lever, so there's a way that it stops and it doesn't keep sliding down the wreath. And then we're all done. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I hope you were inspired today. I hope you have a blessed day and happy crafting.